Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Friday class. We are here on Friday, July 21st. It is 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My name is Mapuana. I host these Friday classes for anybody in doTERRA who's interested in creating a healthier lifestyle, right? Because there's always so much that we can learn. You may have been using doTERRA products for a long time now, but there's always more to learn about the products, the company, and how our bodies work. So we come together on Friday to learn more and to inspire one another with our stories and to learn how to create a healthier lifestyle. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's topic is all about brain health, okay? So as always, I record my classes and they are posted on my YouTube channel a couple of hours after we have the class. So if you would like to share this class with somebody that you know on your team or your community, please feel free to do it that way. Jennifer has dropped in the chat my link to the YouTube channel, so you could copy and paste that for future reference. All of our other classes are posted there as well. Now, today's class, I'm just going to warn you up front. It might go over our usual time of 30 minutes, okay? If you have to jump off because you have other obligations, I totally understand. But if you could sit through the whole thing, then you're going to find a lot of value in the information that I've compiled for us. I want you to be able to use that chat feature and the reactions button on the bottom of your screen, okay, as a way for you to participate in the presentation as well. Hi, Yvette. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you there. All righty. So the brain. It's an organ the size of a small head of cauliflower. It resides in the skull and is the body's control center. The brain is the most vital organ to everyday life. The brain, spinal cord, and the peripheral nerves make up the central nervous system, which directs, coordinates, and regulates voluntary and involuntary processes. Now, sensory nerves throughout the body constantly gather information from the environment and send it to the brain via the spinal cord. The brain rapidly interprets the data and it responds by sending messages with motor neurons to the rest of the body. So there's this constant intake and output. Scientists have found that certain parts of the brain perform certain functions. The frontal lobe, where the limbic system is located, helps regulate emotions and trauma. It assists with reasoning, planning, and problem solving, and is involved in some language skills. The parietal lobe aids with recognition and interpreting data, orientation, and movement. The occipital lobe is connected to visual processing, and the temporal lobe supports perception, auditory processing, memory, and speech. Due to its important role in managing and directing all organs, systems, and body processes, the brain has several layers of protection, including the skull, the meninges, which is the membranes, and the cerebral spinal fluid. The brain also has what has come to be called the blood-brain barrier. Perhaps you've heard of this before. It keeps cells of the nervous system separate from cells throughout the vascular system, which is in the rest of the body. Now, essential oils powerfully benefit brain function and processes. I believe everyone here already believes that, right? When we use our oils aromatically, such as diffusing them or inhaling them straight out of the bottle, or straight out of the palms of your hands. Essential oils directly access the brain through the olfactory bulb, and they are able to initiate almost immediate physical and emotional responses in the brain. Due to their unique chemical constituents and the fact that they are carbon-based, essential oils are able to penetrate the protective blood-brain barrier. Not all, but some of them. They also provide for such things, relief for such things as headaches, migraines, vertigo, other balance issues, emotional issues, as well as mood issues. Now, certain essential oils comprised of specific chemical constituents like sesquiterpenes, say that word 3 times fast, sesquiterpenes, such as frankincense and sandalwood, they have a particular affinity for supporting the brain. So those are 2 oils that come to my mind very quickly when somebody asks me, what oils can I use to support brain health? Now, essential oils with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties are also particularly important for maintaining a healthy brain. But perhaps you haven't thought of using guaiac wood, one of our newest oils, cedar wood, or arbor vitae. They provide calm. They can stimulate as well. They protect the brain and they support GABA levels. Also, rosemary and patchouli enhance brain cognition. You could use clove or thyme to provide your brain with protective antioxidants. Petitgrain and turmeric are also listed in our essential oil life book. As far as the blends are concerned, the first one that comes to my mind is adaptive. It supports brain function and helps mitigate repetitive thoughts. There's also DDR Prime. If you have not worked with that oil, it's very, very powerful. It's a blend that provides strong antioxidants and brain protection. And then we have In Tune. Throw up a heart if you love that oil. In Tune is known as our focus blend. It supports oxygen and blood flow to the brain, and it does cross the blood-brain barrier. And of course, for our children, they have formulated Thinker, which supports brain function for them as well. And some adults like using that one too. And then what's also listed in our book is Zendocrine. It says that it supports relief from mental fatigue and toxins. And if you don't know why, it's because Zendocrine is a cleansing oils. And so there is a gut-brain axis that we've talked about in other classes. That's important to remember. If we're stuck below, we're going to be stuck up here, right? So when you experience brain fog, it's also important to address your digestive system. Now, I cannot talk about brain health without mentioning the glymphatic system. Have you ever heard about this body system before? The glymphatic system is a recently discovered macroscopic waste clearance system that utilizes a unique system of perivascular tunnels formed by astroglial cells. And it's to promote efficient elimination of soluble proteins and metabolites from the central nervous system. Basically, it's a cleansing system for your brain only. Besides waste elimination, the glymphatic system also facilitates brain-wide distribution of several compounds, including glucose, lipids, amino acids, growth factors, and neuromodulators. Intriguingly, the glymphatic system functions mainly during sleep and is largely disengaged during wakefulness, which should make all of us think right off the bat that it's important for us to get enough sleep, right? So the biological need for sleep across all species may therefore reflect that the brain must enter a state of activity that enables elimination of potentially neurotoxic waste products. And I hope that makes sense and you're understanding and following me. You can find out more about this system on pubmed.gov for the most recent studies, okay? The glymphatic system is the brain's dedicated waste clearance system. Thank you, Jenny, for dropping that in the chat. So now it's time to watch a video, and I want to make this really fun and interactive, okay? So I want everybody here to participate in the chat if possible. This is actually going to be a test of your brain function today, right now. Will you be able to listen to what's being said and chat or drop something in, right? It is the longest video that I have ever shared on a class, and he does not mention any doTERRA products. So if you think of something that can be used while he's talking, drop that in the chat, okay? Allow me to introduce, before Jennifer plays the video, allow me to introduce to you a man named Jim Kwik, Kwik. Jim Kwik is an American brain coach, a podcaster, a writer, and entrepreneur. He is the founder of QuickLearning.com, which is an online learning platform. He's the host of the Quick Brain podcast, and he is the author of a book called Limitless. It was published by Hay House in 2020. Now, if you are someone who likes to listen to audiobooks and would like a copy of this, please reach out to me because I do have 1 credit on my Audible that I can gift somebody a free book. So Jennifer is now going to play this video for us, and then we're going to wrap it up with a few stories and thoughts about what he is saying. And don't forget to use the chat feature, okay?
Back to the Quick Brain Show. I am your host and your brain coach, Jim Kwik. And what are we going to talk about today? I'm going to share with you 6 natural medicines to be able to upgrade your brain, to have greater levels of intelligence, greater levels of income, and greater levels of impact. Some of you heard this meme or this quote somewhere on social media saying the 6 best doctors in the world, and no one can deny it, are what? Sunshine, water, rest, air, exercise, and diet, right? And it's kind of true, right? If you want natural ways to be able to be healthy, to be able to improve your learning and your life, those things are there. And besides diet, things are they're free. They could come at absolutely no cost. Now, I'm going to go a level deeper. I'm going to share with you 6 medications that are actually natural. They're not real medicine, but I'm gonna give you an acronym on 6 things you could do when you feel stressed, when you feel like you're overloaded, overwhelmed. You kind of don't know where to start. I want you to pick one of these 6 things. So what are these 6 natural medicines? I want you to think about this acronym, MEDS, RX. Now, I didn't create this. There's a book that talked about it. It's called Slow, talked about MEDS. Also, recently, Brendan Burchard, who wrote Motivation Manifesto, he's spoken at our stages at our Brain Power Conference, been on our podcast. He said MEDS RX. So there's 6 things you could do to be able to tap into that I want to share with you. Simple things that you could do that are easy and mostly free, right? They just take your time. So MEDS RX. And RX is usually like those pharmaceutical drugs, but this, no side effects. Then best of all, again, take very little time, very little money. So what does the M stand for? The M in MEDS RX stands for meditation. Now, in this podcast, we will link all of it, by the way, in the notes. Make sure you always go to jimkwik.com/notes. It's priceless information. It won't cost you a thing. You just have to pay attention. So the M stands for meditation. We've done so many episodes, over 300 episodes total, but many of them were on the power of your mind through meditation and mindfulness. We've had guests come on like Emily Fletcher sharing her process for how to be able to meditate. So I'm not going to go through it in this podcast. Make sure you go through the links. All right. Now, meditation is great for the brain. Sometimes we have to disconnect to be able to reconnect with ourselves. It's kind of like a little pit stop or a pause. For me, I meditate twice a day. It's kind of my non-negotiable because you know what? Your brain isn't meant to go fast all the time. You need these little rests. You're taking deliberate rest for yourself, and that's where you could actually consolidate information. Take your short term, convert it to long-term memory. It actually could help accelerated learning. In 2018, there was a joint study done by New York University and Virginia Tech, and they found that 13 minutes of meditation over 8 weeks not only enhanced mood, but also enhanced things like focus, concentration, and working memory. Just 13 minutes a day for 8 weeks. This study also concluded that it helped to decrease things like anxiety and improved emotional regulation. So, are you taking the time? Are you scheduling your meditation each and every day? Remember, when we're talking about routines and habits, first you create your habits, and then those habits create you. So schedule it, put it into your planner. The number one productivity tool that you have for peace of mind is your calendar. And so remember, when you're going, you feel like you're burnt out. Sometimes you're burnt out not because you're doing too much, but because you're doing too little of the things that make you feel alive. So take that rest for yourself once or twice a day and post on social media. Let me know if it's working for you. Now, the E in Meds RX stands for, you can probably guess, exercise. Now, we've done many episodes on our podcast about the power of what? Movement. We've had people like Sean Stevenson talk about exercises for the brain. We've had episodes with Aaron Alexander, who wrote Alignment, talk about the power of movements and how to maximize your body for a better brain. So many episodes. Make sure you go to jimquick.com/notes. And there have been many studies on the power of exercise, probably more than any other area, that when you move your body, as your body moves, guess what? Your brain grooves. When you move your body, you create brain-derived neurotropic factors, fancy word, BDNF, which is like fertilizer for your brain. And we live in this very sedentary lifestyle. Many of us, me included, we sit behind a computer, we're behind a screen, and they say sitting is the new smoking. So are you taking time to move? There was a study done in 2015 at Cambridge University where they took participants. They did a baseline in terms of cognitive ability and tests, and they had part of the group exercise. They did aerobic exercise in this case, and part of the group, they watched videos of people exercising. And then they followed up, and those who actually exercised, there was enhanced activity in the prefrontal cortex, and this lasted for hours. So if you feel stuck throughout the day, right? If you're just studying and you're cramming information and you're at work, make sure you take those brain breaks. Take 5, 10, 15 minutes and go for a walk, right? Clear your mind, move your body. We know that people, when they're listening to our podcast or our audiobook, or they're listening to something when they're doing something rhythmic, maybe they're on an elliptical, maybe you're going walking the dog and you're listening, it actually help you to enhance your retention of the information and your comprehension. So move your body, exercise, and that's the E in Meds RX. Do you have too much to read, but too little time? Are your shelves full of books that you haven't read yet and become shelf help, not self-help? And that's why I created the Quick Reading course. 15 minutes a day, 21 days will absolutely transform your life. Just go to quickbrain.com/reading. Use the code podcast15 and you'll get instant access. Now, the D, you could probably guess, right, is your diet, right? We talked about this in our programs. We did a whole chapter of it in Limitless on neuronutrition. Your brain is an energy hog. It's only 2% of your body mass, but it requires 20% of the nutrients. And your brain actually requires different nutrients than the rest of your body. So I'm not going to go through our brain diet. We've done many episodes on that. We will link jimquick.com/notes with our interviews with individuals like Dr. Lisa Mosconi, right? Talking about the best brain foods. Dr. Uma talking about the best brain foods and supplements and nutrition for your brain. You want to be able to feed this machine because what you eat matters, especially for your gray matter. My team just sent me this study in 2015. There was a study by Dr. Drew Ramsey. The Journal of Missouri State Medical Association discusses in detail the benefits of nutrients and brain health. Specifically, severe nutritional deficiencies in vitamin B12, B9, which is folate, and zinc can cause things like depression, low mood, fatigue, cognitive decline, and irritability. Eating food with high nutrition reduces inflammation, which is linked to higher rates of mental illness, increased risks of depression, mild cognitive impairment, and ADHD. So bottom line, you can control your mood and your mind, even your memory, by the food that you decide to eat, because food is information. Right? And there's a lot of junk food out there. You want to reduce the processed food. You want to reduce the sugar because sugar is very detrimental to the human brain. We did an episode with Leanna Warner Gray talking about anxiety-free foods, foods you could take to be able to reduce anxiety and reduce stress, because chronic stress is shown to shrink the human brain. So make those wise decisions every single day because food is information. And there's no such thing as like junk food. There's junk, and then there's real food. Eat that food. The S in Meds RX, you could probably guess it, is what? Sleep. And we've done multiple episodes, podcast episodes, on mastering your sleep. When you don't get a good night's sleep, how's your brain the next day? How's your mental energy? How's your memory? How's your ability to solve problems, make good decisions? Every function is impaired by lack of sleep. When you sleep, specifically for your memory, I know a lot of you join us because you want to better your memory, better your ability to learn. When you sleep, you consolidate short-term to long-term memory, right? When you sleep, you potentially can clean out that beta amyloid plaque that could lead to brain aging challenges. And so, are you getting enough rest? Go to jimquick.com/notes and listen to the episodes or watch on our YouTube. Many of you subscribe to our YouTube channel. About 1 million of you have our episodes with Dr. Michael Bruce, right? The sleep doctor, with Sean Stevenson, who wrote Sleep Smarter. We've done so many episodes, probably 12 episodes on mastering your sleep. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine and Sleep Research Society released this study recommending adults get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep per night to avoid adverse health problems such as weight gain, obesity. And we know that as your waistband increases, your brain actually grows smaller, right? Diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, stroke, depression. Individuals who get less than 7 hours of sleep were shown to experience impaired immune function, increased pain, lower cognitive and physical performance, were prone to make more errors during the day, and had a greater risk for getting into accidents. So make sure you prioritize your sleep. We have in our podcast so many brain tips, starting with get sunlight first thing in the morning, reset your circadian rhythm, right? Sleep in an environment that's more cool because the triggers to produce melatonin, which helps you to relax, there's a drop in 2 things. What are they? This is like me quick quizzing you, like this is your quick recall. Drop in temperature. And some of you know, like you drop your temperature. I use a mattress topper to help reduce the temperature that actually could regulate the amount of temperature that you have. And also what? Reduce in lighting. Sometimes our screens are keeping us awake because it's mimicking sunlight. And it's not, you're fooling your mind and thinking it's still daylight. So you want to sleep in a dark environment, ideally these blackout curtains. Some people use an eye mask. But remember, temperature and light. And if you want more, read Limitless. Listen to our podcast. We have all the links at jimquick.com/notes. But make sure you prioritize your sleep. You have an alarm to wake up. Have an alarm to go to sleep. Your brain loves consistency. Now, the RX part I got from our friend Brendan Burchard again. The R stands for relationships. We've done many episodes that when you want to improve your cognitive performance, your brain health, it's not just your neurological networks, it's your social networks. Who you spend time with is who you become, right? You have these mirror neurons. We're constantly imitating the people around us. We start developing the same habits of the people around us, the same behaviors, the same language and thoughts and thinking and standards and character, right? So you want to make sure you build your positive peer group. We all need people to cheerlead for us. We all need people to pat us on the back, to encourage us, to challenge us, to be kind to us. I always say, if you haven't found that person yet, be that person for somebody else. Especially be that person for who? Be that person for yourself, right? And we've done many episodes on the power of belonging. With Mickey, we did many episodes on the power of connection. And we even had Dr. Waldinger on the show. He talked about that study. It's an 84-year-old study, the longest one on happiness at a Harvard University, and the power of being healthy and happy. The number one contributor, it wasn't diet and it wasn't exercise, it was the people around you. Because who we spend time with is who we become. So if you haven't listened to those episodes, make sure you go to jimquick.com/notes. I know I'm repeating myself because repetition is the mother of memory, right? Go and listen, do a deep dive, favorite it, follow it, right? Subscribe to it so you don't miss it. Because if you miss one of these episodes, you could tell you miss a lot, all right? So really, be conscious of the people you have around you. If you're around energy vampires and they're taking your energy away and you wonder why you're not motivated, why maybe we're shrinking our level of growth. And people around us, they could care about us because maybe they're like, why are you listening to podcasts all the time? Why are you going to those events and reading those books? Maybe because they're sincere. They don't want you to get your hopes up. Or maybe they don't want to lose you because maybe you're changing and growing, right? They could be sincere, but they could also be sincerely wrong. And then finally, Meds RX. X stands for all the extras, right? Up to now, everything is kind of free, right? When you're going through it and you're thinking, wow, meditation, that's free. Exercise, that's free. Your diet is your food, so it does cost, but you want to make sure you're eating whole foods and you're eating as pure as possible without the toxins. The S is sleep, and hopefully that's free. And the R is relationships. And then finally, the X is just anything extra you want to put on it. You might have listened to the episode on YouTube at this point, has 250,000 views. We put it up recently on the 4 elements of my morning and evening routine. And all those are free as well, but these are the extras. What were some of the things? Well, I talked about the power of breathing, right? And that's free, air. It's wonderful. A lot of times when you're tired, it's because you're not getting enough oxygen. Because most of us, our postures and our collapse at the desk or when we're on our phones and you collapse, the lower third of your lungs absorbs 2/3 of the oxygen. So you need to be able to get air, getting grounded first thing in the morning, touching the ground if possible, getting water, staying hydrated. Wonderful for your brain. So those are all the extras. Some of the other things I do is get direct sunlight. We talked about that. That's free. And so things don't have to cost you in terms of money. They cost you your focus and your time. And every single day, we're making these kind of choices. But I believe every single morning we wake up, we have a chance because we have choices. And you can make these choices. Simple things that I do in the extras, cold and hot therapy. Right? You heard me talk about, we've had Wim Hof on the show. I met him over 10 years ago at an event we were both speaking at in Boston. But are you taking your cold showers to reduce inflammation, reset your nervous system? Doing it for 11 minutes total in a week. Many of you are familiar with Dr. Susanna. We're going to get her on the show also, and she talks about the 11 minutes of cold each week and the 57 minutes of sauna time for the entire week. Obviously, consult your physician, your healthcare practitioner. But hot therapy, you go into a sauna and heat shock proteins, right? You get that hormesis effect. And we've talked about it on many different episodes. And so these are the extras. You could add supplementation as an extra as well. We'll do a special episode on neuronutrition and some of the supplements and the nootropics that I take as well. We'll talk about brain nutrition. But these are the extras above and beyond. And here's the thing. Remember, you don't have to do everything. You want to make small incremental progress because little by little, a little becomes a lot. So again, Meds RX, follow this. 6 things that you could do. They're natural. You don't need a doctor's prescription to do these things. There are 0 probably side effects. The side effects probably are positive for you as well. And make your smart choices, right? Ultimately, you are the superhero in your own journey, right? With the little things that you do, that you're feeding your mind, that you're feeding your body at the same time, but it really makes common sense. But remember, common sense is not often common practice. So all I'm going to ask you to do is take one simple action. What's one thing you could do out of the 6 to make a positive difference? Remember that question we talked to Dr. Daniel Amen, who wrote Change Your Brain, Change Your Life? He says, is this good for my brain or is this bad for my brain? Because those little choices add up to big choices that become habits that become our life. I want to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you got value out of it, make sure you share it with your family, share it with your friends, leave a review. We read every single review. Our team starts out every single day by reading the feedback that you give us. So I want to thank you being on this journey with us. I think there's a version of yourself that's patiently waiting. How do we meet them? We show up every single day until we're introduced. I'm your brain coach, your host of the Quick Brain Podcast. I'll see you in our next episode. Until then, be limitless.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny, for playing that video. I loved his presentation, his gestures, the speed at which he talked about. Notice he didn't mention any doTERRA products, but I think a lot of the information was familiar, right? Especially if you attended a Reclaim Your Health event in the past. All of those lifestyle factors that he mentioned, meditation, exercise, diet, sleep, relationships, and all the other extras can make a difference in our brain health. So I love seeing the chat blow up. Thank you so much for those of you that participated in that by dropping different oils on how to use them for brain health. I hope that you've learned something new today and that you were motivated to make one change to improve your brain health, because we have a lot of tools that we have access to, and everything that he talked about was free. And then you move into the extras, the stuff that we actually pay for, like our oils and supplements, and we have much more control than we actually think of. If you didn't hear anything brand new, then I hope at the very least, this has increased your confidence in your ability to take care of yourself with all of the natural supplements and oils that we have already. So let's open it up for just a few minutes before we close out with the raffle and some exciting announcements. I'm going to ask for anybody who is willing to share their thoughts or any kind of a success story if you'd like to. Raise your hand or unmute yourself. Jenny, go ahead.
So as far as the extras, he was talking about that hot cold therapy. Hector's been going periodically to the sauna, and he's seen a lot of benefit in terms of helping him with his anxiety.
Awesome. Is that the hot sauna where you sit inside a box?
Yeah, it's an infrared one though.
Okay, very good. Because I was going to say you could add chromotherapy, which is the lights to it, right? Red light therapy. Some hot saunas have the different colors that you could put on and program: green, blue, red. That's really cool. Anybody else want to share experiences or thoughts about the video? Shay, please share.
Just some thoughts on the video. I absolutely loved it. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. And I am going to follow him. I'm going to check him out a little bit deeper. My husband was sitting in too, so lots of awesome points. And one thing I really appreciated was taking a few minutes a day to just decompress, get your thoughts together. I'm just like this all the time, but boom, 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 from the time I hit the floor, and you don't realize how important it is to take that time to just kind of get yourself together mentally. And 13 minutes isn't a long time at all. So I love that. I will be incorporating that in my daily activities, and I loved all of it. So thanks so much for having us.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining. It is not a lot of time, right? 13 minutes. But remember, the lymphatic system, our brains get swollen, our brains get inflamed. It needs time to decompress and not much else besides that. Time and sleep, right? But I can tell you that we've been through a couple of serious head injuries where I knew that my family member was going to be suffering with a major concussion, or they were going to be heading towards a stroke. And I just poured frankincense right on their crown, rubbed it in, poured copaiba, sandalwood all over their neck, and just rubbed it in, put any kind of breathe adaptive for emotions, right? And the whole ER smelled good. Nurses would come in and say, "What's that smell? It smells so much better than what it did before." And so our oils are pretty powerful. Don't be afraid to use them when it comes to brain injuries. We didn't even cover any of that kind of topic, right? We just stuck to brain health and the simple information when it comes to what we can do. So Sharon Lawson, you had your hand up?
Yes, I appreciated how he said our calendars are friends. So to make sure not to leave it to chance, to have a plan to schedule that time for, meditation, mindfulness, exercise, and then even have a plan for diet, have our food menu planned out and going along with, of course, our essential oil regimen and daily vitamins. But yeah, don't leave it to chance.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I did write down anxiety-free food when it came to diet. I'd like to do some research on that. Maybe even have a class on that in the future. Lauren, you had your hand up?
Well, it was just a sobering video because he said that chronic stress shrinks your brain, right? So it just helps you to take more seriously about what you do and taking those rests and meditations because you're damaging yourself. So you want to slow down and take care of yourself and use your oils and be at peace with those in your life.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And we need reminders like that, right? Sometimes I personally feel like I'm repeating myself on these classes sometimes. But I feel like I'm talking about the same thing. But when you hear it from another person or when you read it in a book, or he quoted a lot of doctors too. I don't know if you guys picked up on that he interviewed on his podcast. And so that piqued my interest. I'm going to go check out his podcast. But who here would like a audio copy of his book, Limitless? Shay? All right. You're the first one to raise your hand. Do you have my number?
Do I have your number?
Yeah.
I do not.
Or did we message each other on Facebook Messenger or something?
I think it was Facebook.
Okay. So reach out to me, give me your number there, and then I'll figure out how to share that one credit on my Audible account to get his book Limitless over to you. Okay.
I'm going to send it to you right now through the chat.
Okay. Sounds good. Now let's move on to our raffle and the announcements because I've got some pretty exciting stuff to share. Okay. On Facebook, Return to Wellness, which is Beth Phillips, our Blue Diamond upline, her user page. She had an announcement, so go check it out, on 3 important dates to save. This is all to prep us for convention that's coming up in 8 weeks. And I posted pictures and dates and QR codes on my Instagram so that everybody on my team can be aware of these calls. The first call is July 24th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's going to be given by Dr. Oscathorpe, the infectious disease doctor that works at doTERRA now. And his topic is why your microbiome matters. The second class is August 8th at 2 p.m., given by Dr. Riggs, and his title is How to Support Microbiome Health. Again, all of this is on Beth's Facebook page, so if you'd like to reference that, it might be easier for you too. And then on August 15th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to be hearing from Dr. DeBell. He's one of my favorite speakers at corporate, and he talks about how to choose a quality microbiome supplement because at convention, they are releasing some new products that have to deal with this topic. So save those dates, jump on those calls if you can, learn more about the product that's going to be released in September so that when they do come out with it, you'll already have a little bit of background knowledge. Okay. Now, the next announcement, just a couple of minutes ago, doTERRA threw up a summer flash sale. Has anybody heard about that yet? Awesome. So look for that on social media as well. I dropped it in the chat, a little hint there. We have a BOGO starting on July 25th. Buy PB Assist and receive a free PB Assist. So that's our pre and probiotic and the double encapsulation, right? And then that is a limit of 2, and the wholesale cost on that is $41.50. Then we have a whole lot of products that are available at a 20% off discount. So the Abode Citrus Bloom Hand Lotion, the Abode Foam Hand Wash, Island Mint. So if you didn't get that during BOGO time, now you can for $21.20. Bergamot Mint, a 1.5 ounce mini body butter. Those are great for travel size. They're only $3.50. I'll probably get a bunch of those. Serenity Touch. This is my favorite. I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, Osmanthus. Osmanthus roller bottle is on sale for $24. Balance Touch Citrus Bloom Touch IQ Mega, a 3-count On Guard tablet sample. And then there's a 30% off product, the Amavi Discovery Set for men. So a lot of good things coming out. Watch social media for pictures, prices, reminders. It's a summer flash sale that doTERRA just threw up probably about an hour ago. So I wanted to let everybody here know about that. If you have any questions, just reach out to the person who invited you to this class, and we'll make sure we help you with that. Okay. Last but not least, I'm raffling off a bottle of rosemary. Can somebody hear? Robin Johnson, you have your hand up? You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. That was a mistake. My apologies.
No problem. So rosemary, I'm giving out a rosemary. Can somebody here tell me what rosemary is good for?
Focus.
Focus, hair. I see it coming in the chat. Brain, right? Oxygenation. There have been lots of studies about this oil with college students on how it improves their retention of their stuff. Cooking, Catalina, right? Good. Super easy to use in olive oil with a bunch of Italian spices and just dip bread. Very, very strong and yummy. Yvette says fleas. Interesting. There are an endless ways to use our oils, right? So rosemary is going to Robin Johnson. Congratulations.
Thank you. Are you kidding me? Okay.
No.
Thank you, Jenny.
Jenny, she's your person? Who invited you to the class, Robin?
I saw her through Jenny. I met her at the airport. So
Awesome. Very good. Well, there's more oils coming your way. Okay. She's going to get me your address and I will get that shipped out to you at the end of the day. Now, remember, this class is going to be recorded on my YouTube channel. If you didn't get that, go back to the chat, copy and paste so you could review any classes that you would like to there. Other than that, we'll see you here next week, Friday, for another quick class on how to create a healthy lifestyle with doTERRA and our sun care line. So we're going to be talking about sun protection. Okay. I love the new sun care that's out, and I can't wait to share those success stories with you next week. So thank you again for joining. We'll see you guys all next week. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you. It was wonderful.
Thank you, ladies. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.